The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. First and 12. A total roundup of this weekend's BYU football and the new look Big 12 Conference. First and 12 is sponsored by Macy's Grocery Store. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Alex Keary on KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone.
Breaking down the new look Big 12 every single Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon here on KSL News Radio and the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate all of you tuning into the program every single week. Looking at the new Big 12, yes, we're looking at the current 14-team iteration this year, but we're always keeping an eye out for the new teams that are going to be joining next year. That's the four corner schools, Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, and Colorado, all of which were in action this weekend. And Matt, let's start off with Utah and Arizona. It was a tough weekend for these four corner schools, except for one. The Utes get hammered down in Tucson, 42-18 as Arizona rolls on number 22 Utah.
That thing was over before it began, it felt like. 21-0 after the first quarter. Arizona, can we recognize the job that Jedd Fisch is doing down there? He's recruiting well. And you know what I love, too? In the transfer portal era, it's very easy to bring on said incoming transfer and just say, well, we got to make this guy happy. We brought him in. We're riding with him. They had Jaden DeLaura. He was okay. He flashed here and there, just like he did at Wazoo, but there wasn't enough consistency there. They gave this guy Noah Fafita a shot. He runs the offense better, and they're just rolling with him, and they're winning. 22 of 30, 2 TDs. It's kind of a scary thought, too. Dude is a freshman. Like, this Arizona team next year, look, I don't want to take anything away from what Utah's done, and this might be a little hot takey, but is Arizona the best team next year of the four corner schools? Because it's certainly not Arizona State. It's not going to be your Colorado Buffs.
Yeah.
It's Utah or Arizona. And after what we just saw today, they are young. They got a dang good quarterback. Where does Utah go to quarterback next year? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Arizona is the best of the four next year.
It's an interesting thought because Arizona's been outstanding. Like you said, Noah Fafita has been just an absolute stud. You wonder, though, if Jedd Fisch is going to be back. You know, his name's been linked to maybe if UCLA opens up.
UCLA's not opening up. They just blew the doors off USC.
Is that enough, though, to keep Chip Kelly?
Enough.
Do they want to start clean slate going into the Big Ten? He's also
been
named linked to Mississippi State, maybe.
If your name was Mitchell Jeffrey Harper III and you were an up-and-coming coach, how would you feel about the UCLA job? It was hard.
Wouldn't want it at all.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Look, college coaches aren't as dumb as we think. Okay, they're not going to go out and snatch the next Lincoln Riley. I mean, that's a hard job, and it's getting harder going to the Big Ten. I'm sorry, but who out there is a definite upgrade that you can have over Chip Kelly?
I'm with you. There's been so much rumors about Chip Kelly, and then people have thought, oh, Jedd Fisch was at UCLA. He knows the power brokers maybe at UCLA.
You can come in there and lose your job for 2 years, or you could build Arizona into a contender in the Big 12.
See, if I'm Jedd Fisch, I'm staying at Arizona because he can make a lot of money, one, in Arizona. And in the 12-team playoff, you can get to the playoff with Arizona. If this Arizona team was in, if the 16-team Big 12 was put together this year and there was a 12-team playoff, they're probably vying for the title. They're probably vying for a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
Arizona's playing great football. That was a huge win for them. Utah's era of dominance in the Pac-12 comes to a close. 4 losses for the Utes. I think, again, people have just thought Utah is going to run the Big 12 next year.
No.
Just hold the phone here because, one, there's always a transition whenever you're going into a new league for anyone. Arizona will face it. Arizona State, Colorado. Maybe not as drastic as the newcomers this year in the Big 12 because they've already been operating in Power 5 expenses. But it's just when you're not familiar with these opponents, the tendencies, the style of play, it could be, jarring. I mean, Utah struggled with Baylor, and Baylor's terrible in this league this year. So just kind of hold the phone before saying Utah's just going to waltz in and run the Big 12. Arizona, maybe they step in and become an instant contender.
And here's the other thing, too. If you had to take Baylor, would Baylor beat Cal? Would Baylor beat Arizona State? Would Baylor beat
Arizona State, I think?
Would Baylor beat Stanford? I just feel like
now, Baylor maybe in September, maybe. Now, no.
Yeah, you're right. Now, no. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is the Big 12 to me this year in particular. Look, the Pac-12, much better at the top.
Yes.
You would take the Pac-12s, Oregons, Washingtons all day over anybody that the Big 12 has to offer. But when you get to 3 through 11,
well said.
I don't think there's even a debate. The Big 12 is better. And that's why you're seeing these wild games week after week where it's like, whoa, Oklahoma almost loses, or Oklahoma State goes down to swampy Orlando and loses. Like, I just don't feel like any team coming into the new Big 12 next year, these corner schools, they're not good enough today to come in and dominate next year. This isn't Georgia or Alabama moving conferences. Like, Utah's had a really nice run. I'm not trying to hammer on them or take away from them, but it is naive to think you're just going to show up and dominate.
And it was naive of myself to think that Coach Prime in Colorado was going to show up this year and just run the college football world. They're now 4-7, not going to go to a bowl game unless the Pac-12 actually does clear a waiver to allow 5 and 7 teams to go bowling. Buffs just get wrecked by Washington State, 56-14. Is Coach Prime, his best days already behind him? I think that's a little bit of a reach.
It's a reach. It's a reach. He made a costly mistake a few weeks ago that's going to haunt him for years, and that was demoting Sean Lewis when it was clearly not Sean Lewis's fault. Yep. And you bring up, I can't even remember this dude's name now. He's so old. Help me. Who'd they bring up? It wasn't Tim DeRuyter. He has nothing to do with Colorado. It wasn't Kubiak. I can't remember who it was. Excuse me. I'm not well versed in my analysts for Colorado Buffaloes. Sean Lewis is leaving. There's going to be other coaches that leave. If you're an assistant coach and you look at that and you say, he might ruin my career if I come here. If I don't do it the right way immediately, I'm going to get demoted. I'm going to become a co-coordinator. I feel like there's a coaching issue. He'll always be able to attract talent, but you got to be able to have a good, solid assistant coaching staff with you if you're going to do anything good. Because no offense to Prime, he's just not a tactician. He's not an in-game adjustments guy. He's a recruiter, and he's a recruiter. And around that type of coach, you have to have good assistant coaches. And I thought that demoting Sean Lewis was a big mistake.
I agree with you completely. Arizona State, they fall big to Oregon, 49-13. Sun Devils going through a transition year in year one of Kenny Dillingham. They're 3-8 on the season. No bowl for them. It's a tough year for the Sun Devils.
That's a hard job. I hope that they're patient with Kenny Dillingham. I like that he feels strongly about Arizona State, but Herm Edwards left that thing in a bad spot. That was like you went in, you found a foreclosure on the market. It looked good on the outside. You opened the doors and you were like, oh my goodness. There is the toilets have flooded and rotten floor, and it's like you got to rip that thing down. Arizona State, it's tough. It's going to be several years before they're competing.
That's your Four Corners Whiparound. We'll check in with the newcomers in the Big 12 Conference next year when they join August 2nd, 2024. Taking our final break, what's next in the Big 12? What's coming up right around the corner here on First and 12, powered by KSL Sports.